They told you Khonsu was just a moon god, a minor deity, the son of the great Amun and Mut, a pale and distant figure who simply reflected the glory of the sun. They placed him in the background of the grand Egyptian pantheon and taught you to see him as secondary, a lesser light, a passive observer in the cosmic drama. But that is a lie so profound that it has severed you from half of your own being, a lie designed to make you fear the night, distrust your intuition, and ignore the vast, powerful, and mysterious universe that lives inside you. The suppression of Khonsu was not an accident of history. It was a war on your inner world. Because they knew that a population that worships only the sun, the external, the logical, the visible, is a population that can be easily controlled. But a population that understands the moon becomes dangerously sovereign. Khonsu is not a reflection. He is a guide. He is not a lesser light. He is the master of the subtle light that illuminates the soul. His name means the traveler, and his story is not about the rock that orbits the earth. It is about the sacred journey of your own consciousness through the darkness of forgetting, through the cycles of time, and into the heart of your own healing. You are drawn here because the traveler in your own soul is stirring. It is tired of the harsh glare of the daytime world and is ready to remember the magic of the night. To understand the power of Khonsu, you must first unlearn the great lie about the moon's light. You have been taught that it is merely reflected sunlight, implying it is borrowed, weak, and derivative. This was a deliberate act of spiritual disempowerment. The ancient mystics knew a deeper truth. The silver light of the moon is not a reflection. It is an alchemical transmutation. It is the raw, fiery, often overwhelming power of the sun, the principle of external, logical reality, taken in, softened, cooled, and transformed into a light that is safe for the inner world. The sun's light illuminates the physical. The moon's light illuminates the soul. It is the light of intuition, of dreams, of psychic perception. It is the subtle radiance that allows you to see what is hidden in the bright glare of day. The energetic patterns, the emotional undercurrents, the hidden motives, the truths that are felt but not seen. The system you live in is a cult of the sun. It worships action, data, logic, and external achievement. It tells you to ignore your feelings, to dismiss your dreams, to be rational. It has taught you to fear the night, to see the darkness as a void where only monsters dwell. But the night is not a void. It is the sacred temple of your subconscious mind. It is the great, fertile womb where all new creation is gestated, where all deep healing occurs. It is the realm of shadow work, and Khonsu is the silent, compassionate guardian of that realm. He is the traveler who knows its hidden paths. His gentle, silver light does not banish the shadows. It allows you to see them, to meet, to understand them without being overwhelmed. He makes it safe to journey inward. You have felt his presence your entire life. That quiet gut feeling that told you not to trust someone, even when they were smiling. That was Khonsu, your inner moon, illuminating a hidden truth. That vivid dream that felt more real than your waking life, that left you with a profound emotional insight. That was you, traveling with Khonsu through the landscapes of your soul. That sudden, brilliant idea that came to you in the stillness of 3 a.m. when the logical world was asleep. That was a transmission, delivered by the moonlight of your own higher consciousness. You were taught to dismiss these experiences as random or meaningless, but they are the language of your soul. They are the whispers of the traveler, and to awaken is to finally start listening. The system you live in has trapped you in a prison of linear time. The clock, the calendar, the deadline. These are the bars of your cage. You are taught that time is a relentless, forward-moving arrow, a scarce resource that is always running out. This creates a state of constant stress, anxiety, and a feeling of being perpetually behind. This is clock time, the time of the sun, the time of production and control. But Khonsu is the master of a different kind of time, a time that is cyclical, rhythmic, and alive. He is the pulse of the universe. His is the time of the moon. This cyclical time is not a man-made invention. It is the natural rhythm of life itself. Khonsu governs the great hidden cycles, the ebb and flow of the ocean's tides, the waxing and waning of the seasons, the sacred rhythm of the woman's menstrual cycle, the inhale and exhale of your own breath. And most importantly, he governs the cycles of your own inner world, the waxing and waning of your emotions, the rhythm of your creativity and your need for rest, the ebb and flow of your own life force. You have been taught to see these inner cycles as a flaw. Your moods are labeled as instability. Your need for rest is called laziness. Your periods of introspection are seen as unproductive. You are conditioned to fight against your own natural rhythms, to try and be a solar being, always on, always bright, always productive. And this fight against your own nature is the source of all burnout and exhaustion. To live in alignment with Khonsu is to surrender to the wisdom of the cycle. It is to understand that there is a time for action and a time for stillness, a time for shining brightly like the full moon, and a time for retreating into the darkness like the new moon. Honoring your need for rest, for solitude, for emotional processing is not a weakness. It is a sacred act of aligning with cosmic law. The ancient Egyptians understood this so deeply that they encoded it into a game, Senet. This board game, so often found in tombs, was a favorite of Khonsu. But it was not a game. It was a map. A divinatory tool that symbolized the soul's journey, its travels through the various levels and challenges of the underworld, a journey that spanned many lifetimes. Each square, each move, represented a choice, a karmic event, a test. To play Senet was to scry your own path of reincarnation, to understand the cycles of your own karma. Khonsu, as the master of time and cycles, was the master of this sacred game. He understood the long, winding journey of the soul through eternity. Your life is a game of Senet. Your emotional highs and lows are the squares on the board. The system wants you to be afraid of the bad squares and desperately cling to the good ones. But Khonsu teaches that they are all just part of the journey. The traveler does not fear the path. He learns to navigate it. So, when you feel the tide of your energy go out, do not panic. Do not judge yourself. That is the time for rest, for integration, for the darkness of the new moon. Honor it, and know, with the unshakable faith of the traveler, that the tide will always, always turn. The full moon will return. Your power, your light, your energy will wax once more. To stop fighting your own cycles is to step out of the prison of linear time and into the graceful, powerful dance of the cosmos. There is a reason why Khonsu was known throughout the land as a great healer, but his was not the healing of the flesh. The priests of Sekhmet were the surgeons, the physicians of the body. Khonsu was the physician of the soul. His greatest title was the expeller of demons, the divine exorcist. To the modern mind, this sounds like primitive superstition. But this is because they have taught you to see demons as external, cartoonish monsters. The ancients had a far more sophisticated understanding. The demons that Khonsu expels are the inner demons of the human psyche. They are your trauma, your crippling fears, your obsessive thoughts, your self-destructive patterns, your limiting beliefs, your ancestral wounds. They are the phantoms that haunt you in the night of your own mind, the shadows that whisper your unworthiness when you are alone in the dark. Khonsu is the ultimate guide for shadow work. How does he heal? Not with force, not with violence. The demons of the psyche cannot be fought with brute strength. They thrive on conflict. Khonsu's method is the method of the moon. He brings his gentle, silver light of pure, non-judgmental awareness into the darkest corners of your inner world. He does not come to fight your shadows. He comes to illuminate them. And a shadow, once it is truly seen, once it is brought out of the darkness and into the light of conscious awareness, begins to lose its power. It dissolves. Khonsu's healing is the healing of radical acceptance and clear seeing. He is the calm, steady presence that allows you to face the parts of yourself you have been terrified to look at. There is a famous historical account, the Bentresh Stele, that tells the story of a foreign princess who was possessed by a malevolent spirit. Her father, the king, pleaded with the pharaoh of Egypt to send a healer. The pharaoh sent a statue of Khonsu, an object imbued with his divine frequency. The stele records that when the god arrived, he made peace with the spirit, and the princess was immediately healed. This is not a fanciful tale of a magic statue. This is a symbolic account of vibrational medicine. It is the story of how a pure, coherent, divine frequency, Khonsu, was used to restore harmony to a person's chaotic and fractured energy field, possession. It is the same principle as a sound bath or a powerful mantra. It is the science of healing with frequency. You are being called to become your own divine healer, your own exorcist. The process of shadow work, of therapy, of deep inner inquiry, this is the modern ritual of invoking Khonsu. It is a conscious choice to travel into the night of your own subconscious, to meet the demons that have been running your life. And you do not have to go alone. You can ask Khonsu, the principle of gentle, healing light, to be your guide. You ask for his clarity, his protection, his calm presence as you face your pain. And you will discover that the things that have haunted you for years, the patterns you thought were unbreakable, will begin to soften and dissolve under the steady, loving gaze of your own awakened awareness. The greatest act of healing is not to banish your darkness, but to love it into the light. That is the medicine of the moon. If the power of the moon, the power of the inner world, is so essential for healing and wholeness, why has it been so systematically devalued and suppressed? Because a world in balance is a world that is hard to control. The history of the last few thousand years is the history of the rise of the solar cult, the exaltation of the masculine, logical, external principle, and the simultaneous suppression of the lunar. As societies grew into empires, as they became more focused on war, conquest, and rigid patriarchal structures, the qualities of the sun were glorified. Action, logic, hierarchy, control. The qualities of the moon, intuition, feeling, cyclical being, the inner life, were seen as weak, chaotic, and dangerous. They were branded as feminine and therefore inferior. This was a spiritual war. The night, once the sacred temple of the subconscious, was rebranded as a time of evil and danger. The moon itself became associated with madness. The word lunacy comes from luna, the moon. Your own natural emotional cycles were pathologized. Your intuition was dismissed as irrational hysteria. The entire, vast, rich inner world was labeled as less important, less real than the real world of daytime action and commerce. And Khonsu, the guide to this inner world, had to be diminished. They focused on his depiction as a child, the divine child, with the sidelock of youth. This was a clever trick. It framed him as eternally immature, as the perpetual son who was subordinate to the great, powerful father gods like Amun and Ra. It was a patriarchal narrative designed to keep the lunar principle in a position of eternal childhood, never allowed to grow into its full sovereign power. The consequences of this global suppression are the very sickness of the modern world. You live in a sun-scorched culture, a culture of relentless action, of burnout, of anxiety, of sleeplessness. You are terrified of stillness. You are terrified of your own emotions. You are terrified of the dark. We have become a civilization of insomniacs, popping pills to force ourselves into the unconsciousness we no longer know how to navigate naturally. We have lost our connection to our own inner rhythms, and so we are exhausted, stressed, and disconnected. We have built a world that has only a right eye, the eye of the sun, of logic, and we are blind to the entire other half of reality. We have forgotten how to travel within. We have lost our guide, and we wonder why we feel so lost. But the traveler has not abandoned you. The moon has never stopped shining. It has simply been waiting patiently for you to turn your gaze away from the blinding glare of the artificial day and remember the healing wisdom of the night. The time of the sun's tyranny is ending. The time of the moon's return is now. The great remembering is happening. The sun-scorched world is beginning to feel the thirst for the cool, healing waters of the night. The global awakening of interest in shadow work, in dream analysis, in emotional intelligence, in astrology, in trusting one's intuition, this is not a trend. This is the mass return of Khonsu consciousness. It is the collective soul of humanity remembering that it has an inner world, and that this inner world is not a place of terror, but the source of all true healing, creativity, and power. You are a part of this return. You are a traveler who is remembering the way home. To awaken your inner Khonsu is to become the conscious navigator of your own soul. It begins with honoring your cycles. Stop fighting your own natural rhythms. When you feel your energy wane, give yourself permission to rest. When you feel emotional, give yourself permission to feel without judgment. See your inner life not as a problem to be solved, but as a sacred territory to be explored. Create a holy relationship with the night. Turn off the screens, sit in the darkness, gaze at the moon. Practice being in stillness. The night is not empty. It is full of wisdom if you are quiet enough to listen. Keep a dream journal. Your dreams are not random nonsense. They are letters from your soul, coded messages from your subconscious. Writing them down, honoring them, working with them, this is how you learn the language of your own inner guide. And you must practice with fierce devotion, trusting your intuition, that quiet, illogical knowing, that gut feeling. Make it a daily practice to listen to it and, even in small ways, to act on it. The more you trust it, the stronger it will become. You are retraining a spiritual muscle that has been allowed to atrophy. And finally, you must reframe the meaning of the divine child. Khonsu's sidelock of youth is not a symbol of immaturity. It is the symbol of eternal potential. It is the sacred promise of the new moon. It is the truth that no matter how dark the night gets, no matter how much of your light seems to disappear, you always have the power to be reborn. You can always begin again. Every cycle offers a new beginning. You are the traveler. Your life is a sacred journey through the inner and outer cosmos. Khonsu is not a god in the sky. He is the quiet, steady, silver light of your own soul, the part of you that has always known the way through the dark. He is the peace that comes from trusting the journey. He is the courage that comes from knowing that every night is followed by a dawn. He is the wisdom that is found not in the noise but in the silence. The deepest lunar mysteries, the sacred maps of the soul's journey, are for those who choose to travel beyond the known world. If you are one of them, our newsletter, Insights Academy, is your guide. The link is in the description. Join us and receive your free copy of the Kabbalion. The night is not your enemy. It is your greatest teacher, and the traveler within you is ready to come home. If this video resonated with you, let us know by commenting. I understood it.